What's up, everybody? It's Friday. The weekend is here. Things are starting to premiere. Things are happening in the world. It's Friday. This is where we start to have a good time. This is where it gets good. Lots of things happening today. Hope everybody is ready for the Friday, ready for the weekend. We're going to start it off and have some fun, and we're going to talk some shit. We're going to go some crazy theories. I got some ideas. We're going to talk some nonsense. So let's get into it. Let's not even wait to talk about things. Let's get right into it. Let's talk. So I hope everybody has seen The Bad Batch already. I hope you're already caught up to the premiere episodes, season 3, the final season. I don't even want to call it season 3 anymore. It's now the final season of The Bad Batch. So we know this is going to be the end. But the question is, how do the boys go out? How does Omega finish out her journey? And what's going to happen going forward? There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to talk about. There were 3 episodes in the premiere. It was a good intro. I heard some wonderful things on the Twitter. And people were actually saying really nice things, which is so out of the ordinary. I really don't expect that. So I think some more positive vibes. Wouldn't you agree? So we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to get into some theories. I got a couple things already queued up that we can get into, but I'm just excited to just be back where there's some stuff going on, some good stuff in Star Wars. The rest of the season is looking very promising. There's a lot of things in the air. Where does Omega end up is one of the largest questions I'm seeing all over the net. Is, could it be nefarious? Could the ending, I anticipate the Bad Batch season, this final season, I anticipate the Bad Batch ending very dark, a lot like Rogue One. I anticipate it being really dark, and I don't think that everybody's going to make it out alive, to be honest. I think this is basically a Clone Wars season 7. I'm sorry, season 8, basically. This is going to finish up some of the questions that we have as far as where's Commander Cody? How did Rex, Gregor, and Wolf end up on their road of isolation? And when are we going to start seeing these other characters introduced into this season? Because we know we see Rex without his pauldron. There's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack just in the trailer, let alone this first episode. There's some dark undertones, but there's some interesting thoughts coming out of those dark undertones. So let's get in the chat real quick. Lobo, welcome. I don't know if I've seen you here before, but welcome. It says Omega is Rey's mom. Well, there's some stuff to unpack there. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. Brandon, welcome back to the party. Lobo says hello there. So yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of dark undertones that could be seeded in this season. We already saw the Palpatine prison on Mount Tantus, and that's a pretty sweet Jedi prison. Now, when we look at what we saw in Kenobi, Vader's got his own trophy room of captured Jedi. But are these Jedi that have outlived their usefulness to the Emperor, and then Vader just decided to take them and build himself a fun little trophy room? Or are these Jedi that he captured himself and put in his own little prison? There's a lot of craziness going on. Are these, here's the other side, are these Jedi that were already imprisoned during the reign of the Republic? Maybe that big giant cage in the middle is Krell. or a Jedi of that size. There's a lot. If you look in that room, in that prison, there are so many. There's so many Jedi cages. And if you didn't catch that, we'll go through that also. But let's see what Daniel Logan voicing the clone cadet Mox in episode 2. I wonder if we'll get a young Boba. Yes, see, I would like to see a young Boba. In fact, it would be fun. It would be fun to see a young Boba in some Jango armor. Maybe just starting the paint job. Because we know that at this point, we know based on what we have seen in the episode, we know we're going to see a bunch of familiar phrases, right? We know we're going to see Asajj, right? We already know that. And there's other stuff we're going to go over. There's other stuff we're going to go over. So regarding Asajj, but we know we're going to see Finnick. We know we're going to see Asajj. So who's to say we're not going to see other bounty hunters? Who's to say we're not going to run into, I don't know, maybe Bossk? And I don't know, maybe Bossk and Cad Bane? And maybe a young Boba Fett donning his father's armor?
Yeah, that seems like a lot of goodness right there. That seems like we could be in for a wonderful season!
But let's get back to it. Brandon says, I hope we get an epilogue with Omega at the end of the series. Now, I've heard this a lot. I think I heard this in Making Star Wars stream earlier today, that people are hoping we get maybe a little post-cred scene of where Omega has been all this time. But we're going to get into some of that. Don't get ahead of us. Don't get ahead. It's Friday. We're trying to grind the wheels back here. We're not going to go hard in the paint. Well, yeah, we are, because I'm going to talk about some funny shit that I just found to be absolutely hilarious. But we'll get back to that also. It would be awesome if Boba gets his helmet dented by Cad Bane protecting Omega. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the duel of the bounty hunters being about Omega. Once Boba finds out who Omega is, or rather, once Omega figures out who Boba is, right? Because she's going to recognize him right away. She recognizes every clone. Now, the crazy thing about Omega is that now we know why she's special, right? She is basically the phase 2 clone, right? She is probably one of the later samples of Jango Fett's DNA. We've talked about this, manipulated to house metachlorians. And this kind of hinted in the very beginning of the show, in the beginning of the season 1 of Bad Batch, why the Kaminoans were keeping her so safeguarded, so hidden from everybody. We hadn't seen female clones in the past, yet we find out later that they were implemented, but kind of discarded as not useful, if you will. And so Hemlock found a better use for them and brought him into his side projects, if you will. But then this little girl, this little clone, was hidden from a lot of people, including the Empire. Even when they come to take Kamino over, the Kaminoans were very interested in saving her because her genetic code is so valuable. And now we know exactly why. We always had a feeling people were like,
oh my God, is Omega force sensitive? Is everybody just force sensitive now? We're just so tired of everybody being force sensitive.
Well, no, she's not force sensitive. But yet she has the unique ability where her DNA is actually able to house metachlorines from a donor and produce force sensitive clones. So the stuff that Gideon was working on that took another 30 years or whatever, it took another 19 years, let's say, after the Empire during the reign of the Empire to figure this out during Gideon's research. But yet Omega was hidden all this time. Does that mean that Gideon might have found her in where, I mean, look at Grogu. Grogu was in hiding for a very long time with a very large dollar amount. And then you have Omega that could be sitting in the same boat, equally as valuable to almost everybody. It's a very interesting idea. I mean, Gideon wanted an entire army of his own Force-sensitive clones. And we know the Emperor uses Omega's DNA. So what, do they find Omega? Do they torture it out of the Kaminoans? There's just so many roads. There's so many ways that this leads to Rey. It's not even funny. And people are genuinely upset about this. Like, was the writing not on the wall in the background? Have I not been screaming this at the top of my lungs for several years now? Have we not been in this together along this insane journey, talking about roads leading to Rey? And now that they finally do, people are upset about it. I don't understand. I don't understand, people. Can you help me out? Help me understand what's going on? Sorry, I got to fix my lighting. There's a light back there that wasn't working right. Can you guys help me figure out what's going on? I don't understand where this confusion comes from. Like, these stories weren't being written for years. I've been telling you on this channel for 2 years how Filoni is going to try to build this bridge between the sequels and the OT and somehow connect this stuff to make it all make sense. He's trying to glue back together. What is that Japanese ritual where instead of just throwing a broken dish away, they fix it with gold and then it becomes more valuable? They find the value in destroyed things. It's very interesting that I find so many people confused by this revelation that Project Necromancer is a legit thing. I'm befuddled, to be honest. I mean, honestly, you know what? Just, I've been watching Twitter. I've been on Twitter all day, and I've been watching a particular streamer get roasted, and I mean roasted on Twitter. And it's amazing because the shock and awe is really pissing people off. To be really honest, people are legit like, yo, bro, where have you been the last couple of years? Have you not been paying attention to what Dave Filoni has been doing? Are we just completely oblivious to everything going on? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I'm legitimately confused. Because did we not watch the last season of The Bad Batch? Did we not watch other shows that lead us into this this long journey of leading to Rey? This long journey of the sequels being a real thing, that retconning is not a real thing? All right, let's get back into the chat. Let's bring me back to Earth, because I don't understand. All right, we already went there. Okay, season 1. Let's go. Let's get back in the chat. Let's see what you guys are more important than my banter. Let's get back to what you guys have to say. The Stanleys. Well, we did see season 1, episode 1, them carrying off a dead Jedi somewhere. What if they were taken to Mount Tantus as they do need metachlorine rich cryo frozen to make them last longer? Yes, absolutely. Potentially taking the blood of these deceased Jedi to see if it works together, to find some stuff. And yes, what a better way than to put them in some Bacta tanks to keep them preserved. Right? I agree. I totally agree. What a bro! I mean, imagine that good writing going on at Lucasfilm with Dave Filoni being in charge. I just don't understand how that's not even possible. Love having some Star Wars to watch during the start of the year. If we get any holy shit moments, that'll be icing on the cake. I totally agree, Dave Davidson. It's a good way to start the year. There's a lot of good stuff starting the year. Hey, Maximus, you made it this time. Yeah, we're doing a twofer today. It's Friday. We're doing a twofer. We're going twice today. We're going hard in the paint this time, though. This morning stream was a little easier because everybody's not used to the morning streams. So I didn't want everybody, in this community, I want everybody to start off their Friday all hectic with my insanity in their brain. So we left the insanity for this afternoon. We went strictly for Star Wars night at Disneyland, which we got tickets for. So there's lots going. I've heard a ton of people. We're going to talk more about that later. Maybe bring some people in if they want to hang out. But I heard a bunch of people already on the Twitter are going May 2nd. So that day is going to pop off. I've already seen 3 streamers aside from myself that will be there on May 2nd. It's going to be amazing. So thank you for hanging out. Today we're getting crazy. We're going hard in the paint. It's Friday. I'm seeing all kinds of things on Twitter that are getting me all fired up and antsy in the pantsy. So we're going hard in the paint today. Yeah, this is the last season. This is the final season of Bad Batch. I love it. I love it. I would consider Omega Blood to Alice and the T-Virus from Resident Evil franchise. Exactly. It's just a somehow unification of DNA strands and some, the Kaminoans were working on this for a long time. All right, let's see. The Sabersmith, they're not ever going to get it right. The Emperor is literally a robot in the sequels. Well, yes, they're never going to perfect that cloning. Yes, I totally agree. And that's exactly where we are, in my opinion. Yes. That's absolutely correct. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it seems like Gideon had it right, and then the Mandalorian screwed it all up, right? So where's Omega been this whole time? I mean, it seems like Omega is the sauce for Snoke, right? But how do we get there? Is it a dark and sinister way that we get there, or do we get there? I mean, we know because Matt Cave gave me some great knowledge in the Discord. We were talking about this exact subject, and he was mentioning, and he put into the chat that Rey's dad is a Strandcast clone that didn't have Force abilities, a failed Strandcast clone. So is that another iteration of Snoke? Or is Snoke something different? Maybe, maybe Snoke's not a clone. But we see his body in there, right? We see all those clone Snoke looking bodies. But maybe the original wasn't a clone. Maybe the original was something different. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about all the sick, disgusting, only things the Sith would appreciate. All right, let's see what else. Stanley, the snack shot, bad. Yeah, I love it. Okay, Maximus is here. Yep. Oh shit, Lobo's got it up May 2nd. That seems to be the day. Everybody's going May 2nd. There's a lot of streamers going May 2nd that I've heard so far. I am looking forward to it. There's so much going on. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be a lot of us there. But back to the Bad Batch. So now, we... All right. Let's talk about some Bad Batch for a minute. Okay. So let's talk about Asajj, right? We know we're going to see Asajj Ventress in this sequel, or in this season, the final season of Bad Batch. So I'm going to share this screen, and we're going to talk about something interesting that they are doing. Okay. So this is really something cool I thought was really interesting. And let's switch my sides, please. Thank you. Okay. And so this this is actually from StarWars.com. This is in their news platform today. Now, for this is the newest addition to the Legacy Lightsaber collection. The Disciple of the Sith, Asajj Ventress Legacy Lightsaber returns with a limited edition box. So before, where these were sold independently, Asajj's lightsabers were sold independently before. Now they come in this box set with this really bitchin' looking box. So we're going to read a little bit about this. This is, from their news reporter, Dustin Deal? Dustin Deal, maybe? I'm awful with phonetics, so whatever. Fans were first introduced to Jedi Apprentice turned Dark Disciple Asajj Ventress in 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars 2D micro series. That's where she cut Anakin's eye. Since then, she has become a mainstay antagonist to the heroes of the Clone Wars, appearing across Star Wars media to tease, frustrate, foil, and yes, sometimes even help her Jedi foes. It's this ever-evolving character development, not to mention unforgettable character design, that has kept fans clamoring for more. While we await her reappearance in Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, celebrate the character's journey so far with a new limited edition Legacy lightsaber box set packed with unique features to match her animated weapons. StarWars.com sat down with Cody Hampton, senior manager of merchandise at Disney, to talk about making this must-have set and why Asajj has managed to capture our hearts for all these years. So those look pretty sweet. I don't know what you guys are. Let's take a pause and take a look at the chat. Nothing going. Okay, yeah. I mean these look pretty bitchin'. I'm not gonna lie. The hilted sabers have always kind of confused me on what style, but I think they are it looks like a really awesome set. Let's continue. StarWars.com. The Asajj Ventress Legacy lightsaber hilts, previously sold individually, have been retired for several years now. What makes this the perfect time to reintroduce this set, Cody Hampton tells us, we truly love making Legacy lightsabers for our guests to enjoy and for them to be able to grow their lightsaber hilt collection. Asajj Ventress is such a fan favorite character. We wanted to find a way to reintroduce these hilts for fans that may have missed out. Now, that's really, really cool. That if they actually interlock like that, that's really cool. Again, I do not understand the design of being able to hold these curved hilts and use them in this fashion, but that's pretty bitch. And that is a super sick look if they connect together. The original hilt was sold as a single hilt, but as we all know, during the Clone Wars, Ventress always wielded two matching hilts and at the same time connected them to make them a double-bladed lightsaber. So that just is exactly what I was saying. How cool does that look? And that's the box that they come in. A little latch that kind of spreads open, a unique box, a lot like the character, very unique. Okay. StarWars.com. The gorgeous wooden packaging is inspired by the box Count Dooku used to present Ventress with her hilts in the 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars 2D micro series. What was it like going back to this series for inspiration? Cody Hampton replies, the micro series is special to so many fans. It originally aired between the theatrical release of Star Wars Attack of the Clones and Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the same time the Clone Wars takes place in the story. Meeting with Count Dooku is such a memorable scene and also shows the origins of how Asajj Ventress receives her 2 red-bladed lightsabers. The box that held the lightsaber hilts was so unique and and ornate that we thought it would make the perfect box for the limited edition release. It's very origami-esque. It looks really cool. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks really cool. Okay, that's the piece that must connect the two here in the little. Okay, so StarWars.com asks another question. So this is a Q&A interview. Come to find out. StarWars.com. This new set is loaded with exclusive features, including printed character quote inserts, double-bladed adapter, and the packaging itself. What are you most excited for collectors to experience with this set? Cody Hampton's reply: I would say the most exciting part of the Disciple of the Sith limited edition box set, aside from the detailed hilts themselves, is the wooden box and the way it functions. This set was more challenging to create than many of the previous sets. First, taking something only seen in animation to the real world and turning that into a product that can be difficult. Next, we wanted this to look and function like we saw it in the series, which included 4-piece opening from the top to reveal the lightsaber hilts inside. Lastly, we wanted the presentation of the crossed hilt with the dark side red inlay to look like it did on screen. Overall, we are excited about the execution, as it truly is inspired by what fans see in the series. We also like to include an insert that features the individual number of the set, so fans know this is truly limited to this edition size. On each insert, we also enjoy including a character quote from the film or series that continues the storyline of the entire set. This set also includes a special adapter so fans can connect the 2 hilts for that double-bladed wielding action. The legacy lightsaber blades are sold separately, obviously, because you want to get the right size. StarWars.com asks, Asajj Ventress is no stranger to Star Wars media. From animated series to video games, books to comics, fans just can't seem to get enough of our favorite Dark Disciple. What about Asajj has given her so much staying power? And what personally is your favorite iteration of the character? It's a really good interview. Cody Hampton replies, agree. Asajj Ventress is one of the best characters in Star Wars. In 2008, Star Wars: The Clone Wars film, we see Ventress as the dark side villain working with Count Dooku for the Separatists. As the series progressed, we saw Dooku betray her. We learned she is a Night Sister from Dathomir, and we learned that she was saved by a Jedi when she was a child and trained as a Jedi apprentice. Then she became a bounty hunter working with Boba Fett, Bossk, Dengar. So much amazing story for one character. I would say personally, my favorite iteration of the character was seeing her and Ahsoka Tano team up to help each other when Ahsoka was on trial. During this time, I also loved how Ventress compared herself to Ahsoka when confronted by Anakin Skywalker with a quote, "My master abandoned me, and that is exactly what you did to her. You and your precious Jedi Order." To see the shock on Anakin's face during that moment, and to see how Dooku's betrayal affected her was so moving. As you could tell, I'm a big fan, as we all are. And so that is everything on that article. Now, That's the kind of stuff I've been talking about. Look, these how do I want to place this? These lightsaber hilts, these people that are in this design room, these people understand what's, a lot of this old school lore that I think a lot of people forget. It's just, it's part of that. I don't know, what do you call it? That it was in between the two movies, is where it was set, and it's such an interesting time. She's got such an interesting story, but the one thing that stood out to me during that time is that she was a bounty hunter with connections to Boba, Dengar, and Bosk. And that is a huge thing, potentially leading in. Could that be a pearl? Could he have dropped just a little pearl, not even realizing it, that we're going to see those three together, those four together, potentially hunting Omega? And that's why the Bad Batch encounter Asajj Ventress. I'm telling you guys, this is all looking real good. We might get to see that reunion everybody has been talking about. There's a lot cooked up in this series, man. There's a lot of good. And it's so disappointing to see people being surprised that these are connecting the sequels together. That these are connecting the OT to the sequels. It is surprising to me that people are surprised. All right, let's get into let's get into some other stuff. We're talking about Bad Batch. A lot of these were from last week. D. Bradley Baker last week was talking about, he looks ahead to the final season of Star Wars: The Bad Batch, having voiced the guys in this series. And, we could go over that. But ultimately, I think I want to talk a little bit about Omega. And I think that there could be some, some sinister things afoot here. I mean, we know that there are Force sensitive babies, right? We get a young Luke and Leia. The what do we call the babies that should never have been, let's call them, according to the council. So we have this interesting backstory here to the original the prequels, right? To Luke and Leia's birth. And we get into this non-Force sensitive being Padme, and we have Anakin, this very powerful highest metachlorine count of any Jedi ever. And we find, eventually, obviously they have a baby after they get married, all that fun stuff, and then the babies are separated and they're both, very Force sensitive, so on and so forth. Now, is this and I really hate to do this, so I'm gonna issue a warning here. I'm gonna stop the music. I'm gonna issue a warning here. This could potentially be not suitable for work. If you're under the age of 18, you might want to get out for just a little bit, or you may want to listen. So we're gonna get a little dark here for a minute. Now, we go through this whole thing last week before the Bad Batch came out. This whole article from wherever in the metaverse that this came from about Palpatine fucks, right? Yeah, warning issued. So we get this whole article or this whole thing about, and all the streamers are talking about,
does Palpatine fuck? Does Palpatine get down? Now, why the shit is Star Wars telling me that Palpatine fucks right before the Bad Batch comes out?
Okay, so we're gonna get dark here for a minute. We normally don't get this dark, but eventually, does Palpatine get his hands on Omega? Is this the dark ending that I've been predicting? I've been predicting this dark ending for a long time. Everybody's going to die in this series. The Bad Batch, all of them are dead, right? There's 3 survivors. We know the 3 survivors, right? Rex, Gregor, and Wolf. That's it. Everybody else dies. That's a prediction. It's getting dark. The sun's going down. Sun's getting real low. All right? So we're getting dark. Yeah, we're getting dark. It's gonna get spicy here. It's gonna get spicy in here. Okay, so everybody's dying in this show, right? This is Rogue One all over again. The only 3 that survive are those 3 that I mentioned. Everybody else dies, right? This is Rogue One all over again, and I'm about it. But then, what if it gets a little darker? What if all our heroes die, but Omega gets captured by the Empire, gets taken to Palpatine, and that's the last we see of her. And that's why the cloning starts to get more aggressive. He now has a acceptable donor. They're going to experiment. They're going to strap her to a table and experiment on her for years. And does that lead to Snoke? Right? Do they now have the ability to harness embryo from a young Omega, that now they have the ability to clone using Omega as the source sample? Right? It's real dark, man. It's very dark. You know, do we go one step darker than that? Is the original Snoke not a clone? Is the original Snoke an Omega baby? I don't even know how to handle that. I don't even know how to process that. Is that how dark we're going? I mean, look, man. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that some more too. You know what I mean? I mean, this is gonna be some twisted. This could potentially be some really dark stuff. Now, yes, it's a kid's show, but at the same time, I mean, they cut people's heads off in these shows. You see, you know, lightsaber duels that end in people's heads getting cut off in these shows. How dark is this going to go? Right? Either Omega is never seen or heard from again because somebody like Finnick has a heart and protects her, or somebody that has a lot of money is protecting her. And maybe that's why Boba takes the Empire's money, because he's protecting his long lost sister. Cool. But is the darker idea here that everybody dies? Everybody that's ever touched or met Omega dies for the most part, except for somebody like Finnick that kind of, I don't know. I never met her before. I was tired to hunt her, but I never found her. So does everybody die? I think everybody dies. And even darker, if Omega gets captured by the Empire, what happens to her? Could the first iteration of Snoke be a Rey baby? And then the cloning continues from there, because then you have a Force-sensitive Palpatine. And they just told us like a week ago, Palpatine fucks. Just saying. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know why they would tell us that Palpatine gets down and that's a thing right before the Bad Batch shows up. And then here goes my mind thinking, man, are they going to start like harvesting DNA and like make little clone Omegas to sacrifice, trying to make mutations of Palps. Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I don't know what to think about this. But anyway, so there's another theory. Here, let me get into this. Let me share this. No, I don't want to go there. Okay. There's another thought. Now, this could be how Omega, shows that Omega could have gotten away. Now, we go back to Rogue One, and we see Jyn is going through the Scarif archive looking for the plans to the Death Star. And we get all of these different code names, right? Stellar Sphere, Pax Aurora. But wait.
Mark Omega?
Mark Omega? Damn.
Could they have been planning this all that time ago? Could they have been planning Omega and the Bad Batch all that time ago when they were doing Rogue One? Was there that much forethought into this that long ago? Because Mark Omega could be a couple of different things. Mark Omega, like, she's got a marker on her. She's got a bounty on her. Or is that the code name for the clone project, right? Could they have been going that far back? Have they known what they were going to do with Omega and the Bad Batch for this long, knowing where the Clone Wars was going to end? There's a lot of suspicion going on here, guys. It's a lot of things I'm curious about. Very interesting. I don't know, to be honest. I'm very curious to see where we go with this Omega story. Because look, ultimately, if you don't know, okay, now let's talk about now let's remove this. Let's get back to one. Now, if you don't know what Project Necromancer is, number one, you need to do yourself a favor. You need to get yourself a copy of this. The audiobook for Plagueis is by James Lucerno, is absolutely fantastic. The audiobook is great. If you don't, like me, I'm a dumb shit. I don't read very much because I'm kind of dumb. But this book is worth the read if you're a dummy like me. But even so, if you are a audiobook person, somebody who spends a lot of time in a car, somebody who spends a lot of time listening to audiobooks, this is a fantastic audiobook. The voice acting in this is fantastic. And if you don't know about Project Necromancer, this is the book you really want to get into and read. This talks about what Palpatine was really into, and what him and his master discussed about immortality. And that book has a ton of gold in it. Great book, lots of gold in them mines, mainly because they talk about Project Necromancer. So, well, not so much Project Necromancer, but you find out that Palpatine has been into essence transfer, and him and his master Plagueis used to get into debates and arguments about what's better. Plagueis wanting the manipulation of midichlorians for everlasting life, where Plagueis laughed at the idea of essence transfer, because not only was his apprentice Sidious Palpatine into essence transfer, so was Plagueis's master. So there's a lot to unfold if you what up, KG? There's a lot to unfold in that book. It gives you a little more background into why Palpatine is so interested in these clones, why he's so interested in this Project Necromancer. And Project Necromancer, look, again, I know that there's a lot of people that are very upset.
I mean, there are peoples whose asses are like legit hurt. Like legit hurt. Stop it. The voice makes it so much worse.
The voice makes it so much worse. Look, I don't take pleasure in other people's misery, but there's something about watching people get mad about the connection. Trying not to there's just something funny about it, man. I've been searching Twitter and the big thing of the day, of course, we already went through there. We went through the battle for tickets today that went on, which was great. We went through the Asajj Ventress lightsabers. That is also great. And I try not to go too hard in the paint on the largest Star Wars YouTuber in all the lands, but man, does that guy like to cook himself some humble cake. Man. Does that guy like to put himself out there to get to get it, because he is all over Twitter today and just getting roasted by the fans and by the tweeters for his reaction to Project Necromancer. I'm sorry, I didn't want to bring it up. It's funny. It cracks me up. Look, guys, I've been saying this for 2 years. The franchise is not going to abandon the sequel trilogy. Not when they're trying to get Daisy on board to do some post-sequel stuff. Not when they're building this season to give us Project Necromancer that is going to lead to Palpatine being a clone, to Palpatine being is Snoke. All of this stuff, it is all going to lead to the same place. We all need to get on board or just jump off the ship, right? I've heard nothing but I'm out of here if they do this, and I'm out of here if they do that. Well, you're not out of here because you're still in it for the clicks, babe. You're still in it for the views. And I got to say, I'm very enthusiastic about the direction that the Bad Batch is going. There are tons and tons and tons of good stories that are going to come up in this, and I'm just really excited. It's Friday. We had a good day today getting tickets. There are a lot of streamers that are going to be there on the 2nd of May. I'll have an updated video, probably a short, with some more updates on what's going on for the Star Wars After Dark nights. But so far, it has been a good week of Star Wars stuff. The Bad Batch was fantastic. We're getting these new additions to the Legacy lightsabers. We got the Star Wars After Dark Madness, the Hunger Games, 4 tickets to that, and I'm seeing nothing but good responses from a lot of people that are very happy they're getting their tickets from Star Wars After Dark, the Star Wars nights. So I think overall, collectively, today has been quite a success. I'm very curious. I'm very curious what it's going to be like moving forward. Right? Are we going to see, what do you guys think? I mean, what you guys think is equally as important to what I think. Are we going to get Gideon? Are we going to see a young Moff Gideon maybe stealing some cloning technology and stealing a few cloners as something happens to Mount Tantus potentially? And we have to, we're moved on to how Gideon gets his technology. There's a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of pearls in these next few episodes. I'm really excited for this show. Again, this show brings me back to that Clone Wars feel, and seeing people like the guys over at Den of Nerds be excited about how this first couple release has been makes me very excited, because these are some of the people that are pretty skeptical on Star Wars, that are pretty hard on Star Wars. Yes, that'd be another great one, Stanley. Didn't even think about that. A very young Dr. Pershing. Yes, I love it. Yeah, I just, are we going to get moving forward in the last, we're only going to stream for about an hour tonight. I want to try to get some gaming done. Are we going to get Moff Gideon, a young apprentice, Dr. Pershing? Are we going to get the clone rebellion? Right? Once Crosshair and Omega get out and potentially tell Rex and them what's going on at Mount Tantus, are they going to launch a clone rebellion? Is that what starts this whole final season? Why it's ending? Why they're the last 3 or 4 clones left over from the clone rebellion? There's a lot that could be unpacked in this season, and I'm all about it. Let's go. I know everybody has been super excited with where we're starting. This has been so much fun to get back into streaming, to have a couple things to be excited about. Now we got the opening day for Star Wars After Dark is going to be the 16th of April. That's going to be amazing. That's right around the corner. The Bad Batch will continue to air till right before May 2nd. Got up to do an early stream today. Sorry about that. The Bad Batch will be airing right up until May the 2nd when everybody is going to Star Wars After Dark. So there's so much going on in the next couple of months. But I am most excited to find out, like, ultimately this story, yes, it's about Omega. But ultimately for me, this story is about how the hell Rex and the boys get to their crawler on that dusty planet hunting Jupas, right? That's what I need to know. I need to know how Rex, Gregor, and Wolf end up on that crawler in the middle of nowhere hunting Jupas. Was it a clone rebellion? Did Omega and Crosshair start a clone rebellion that gets everybody killed? Because I think everybody dies. And if Omega gets caught, it's game over. She's now an experiment. She's now harvesting DNA. That's all she's for anymore. So, I mean, are we going to see Boba and the bounty hunters try to get their hands on Omega? Because we know from before, Nala Se had a bounty with Finnick to get Omega back. So now is the Empire going to go to Boba and all these other bounty hunters, Boss, Dengar, Cad Bane, Finnick? Is everybody going after our young apprentice here, our young friend Omega? And is that how we run into everybody? Is that how we get the duel of the bounty hunters where Boba gets his dent? There's so much cool shit. Daniel Logan's back. D. Bradley Baker is excited to finish out his career voicing the clones. There's so much going on with this. It's been amazing, man. It's just so exciting. It's such an exciting time. I'm sorry. I feel bad for the fans that aren't excited about the current state of Star Wars. I really am. I really feel for you guys. If you're a Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney Star Wars hater, I feel bad for you. I genuinely do. And I know everybody's just saying, don't feel bad for me. I really do, because there's so much great shit going on right now that could be fun and exciting that you want no part in the conversation because it's Disney Star Wars. This is some fucking art right now that's going on. This is some boomerang storytelling that's going on right now. That Dave Filoni is a genius. There's nobody better to lead the helm, to lead us to the roads that lead to Rey, to make the shit make sense. What a great captain of the ship. I'm very excited. If you guys haven't figured it out, I'm very excited. It's going to be a great, great, fun Star Wars year. Yeah, I mean, haters going to hate. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, Bounty Hunters would be great. I mean, leading up to Outcast, the game coming out potentially at the end of the year. there's a lot going on, man. We may not get all the live action we get now. We may not get all of the stuff we're looking for, but Ahsoka season 2 is on the horizon. Acolyte's coming this summer. Outlaws is potentially coming this winter. Andor is shooting or potentially done principal shooting. Ahsoka's got a season 2. Samuel L. Jackson. You know what? I can't even do it in the regular voice.
Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson is lobbying for a Mace Windu conclusion story. He's looking for Mace Windu didn't die kind of shit.
And that's what I'm about. Bring your ass to me. Samuel L. Jackson, bring your conversations over here. Let's write a Mace Windu story. Let's write my Mace Windu story. You pitch it to Lucasfilm. It'll get picked up. Let's finish the Mace Windu story. It'll be brilliant. You could be laying right next to Darth Maul in the Kenobi graveyard on Tatooine. What a great... No, fuck Boba kills Mace. I'm tired of that shit. Fuck Boba kills Mace. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. I'm tired of that circle bullshit. They already met. He already took his shot. He already had his chance. Boba had his chance. Boba's done. Boba go be a Mandalorian. Tired of that shit. Boba had his chance. It's over. Boba had his chance. Now it's got to be Obi-Wan Kenobi kills Mace Windu for coming after Luke Skywalker. That's it. Boba Fett had his chance. I don't want to hear it anymore. You don't say that. I don't want to hear it anymore. Boba had his shot. Now Boba needs to go take his lineage from Jango to Jaster all the way back to Mandalore to go hang out with the Mandalorians and figure out what's going on there. I'm tired of this Mace Windu. Mace Windu would whoop his ass. I'm sorry. There, I said it. I said it. Mace Windu, especially a pissed off Darkseid Mace Windu, would whoop Boba Fett's ass. I'm sorry. He crushed him like a tin can. Pick him up. Like Magneto picking up Iron Man. Huh. You're done, motherfucker. You're done. Say my name again. Right? Boba ain't got shit. Sorry. His dad was the most feared bounty hunter in all the land and got his ass kicked by Mace Windu. Same thing happened to Boba if he faced Mace Windu. In fact, if y'all want to put an end to Boba Fett, let's have Boba Fett meet Mace Windu in the show that I'm talking about, and then he could kill Boba Fett, and Boba Fett's dead, and y'all ain't got to do with the Robbie Rodriguez Boba Fett season 2. How about that? We'll be done with it. Fuck it. Done with him. He's out of here. And then we get back to the real shit, and that's Mace Windu coming after Luke Skywalker. Obi-Wan Kenobi's got to kill a homie and put him in the ground right next to. You got to talk to Qui-Gon Jinn about it. You got to put him right next to Darth Maul. Have a headstone. Have a picnic. Saying hi to everybody. Sorry, tired of this shit. Boba Fett get his ass kicked by Mace Windu. I said it. I'm tired of it. It's Friday. You guys got me all fired up. It's fucking Friday. I'm talking about that Boba Fett killing Mace Windu bullshit. That's not the circle we need to complete, people. He had a shot. They had a conversation. Mace said he's sorry. Mace understood why he's after him. If he needs to come get him one day, come get him. I get it. But the full circle would be Mace Windu, that bus driving bitch, Mace Windu, Mace Windu coming after Luke Skywalker, and Obi-Wan having to kill Master Windu and bury him in the sand right next to Darth Maul. That's the full circle. Kenobi protecting Anakin from friend and foe. That's the circle of writing. Telling you. Come talk to me, Samuel L. Jackson. I hope one of your people watches YouTube. Come talk to me, Samuel L. Jackson. Let's write this shit together. You could get it made. If you had the right story, Just like Ewan, you could get it made. You could exec produce just like Ewan. All right? No lie. Mace Windu could have his story. It wouldn't end the way you wanted to, but Mace Windu could have his story. He didn't die like a bitch getting thrown out the window. He dies to one of the greatest Jedi masters of all time in the sands of Tatooine. And what better way? What better way? Oh my God, I'm a genius. What better way to have Obi-Wan Kenobi age the way he does than to have somebody like Mace Windu use Force lightning on him and age him like Palpatine got aged? What a better way to explain why Obi-Wan Kenobi looks like he's 150 years old in 19 years. How does he gain 150 years in age in 19 years in the desert? I'm sorry. That should be season 2. Then it brings more pieces together. Okay, everybody gets Mace Windu made it. Okay, cool. If he meets a Boba Fett, kills his ass on the way, great. But we got to get from Ewan to Alec, right? We got to get from Ewan to Alec somehow in the deserts of Tatooine in 19 years. And we know like 10 of these goddamn years have already gone by, right? So Kenobi's been sitting in the desert for 10 years, living under a rock, literally living under a rock for 10 years, hasn't aged a pickle. Your pinky toe looks more aged after being in the bath for 45 minutes than Ben Kenobi's been 10 years in desert. Have any of you lived in the desert? 10 years in the desert living under a rock, you would be a shriveled ass prune. And he ain't aged a day because he's sitting there in whale fat, cutting whale fat all day, just rubbing it on himself. We need to see Ewan to Alec. The only way to do that is Force lightning. We can't have the Emperor Force lightning or Vader or anybody Force lightning Kenobi, because then you know where Luke is. But if a Mace Windu, who's now gone dark side, who has been electrocuted by Force lightning by Palpatine, which means he can now do it, what a better way, instead of having Shatterpoint now, because his dark side abilities take over, the dark side takes him over. He no longer has the ability to use Shatterpoint like he used to. And now, instead of that, has Force lightning. And boom, it takes us from Ewan to Alec. Checkmate. You have your story. Kenobi has to kill Mace Windu, buries him right next to Darth Maul, all to protect that damn kid. And then he has to hear shit from Owen about, oh, blah, blah. You know what? I killed some people for that kid. You ain't killed nobody for that kid. Just saying. It's a good way to get there. It's a good way to get there. Because if Mace sees Boba, then Boba's dead before Return of the New Hope, and it's just it rift in the time-space continuum. No. Mace gotta meet our friend Kenobi in the deserts of Tatooine. We see Liam as Qui-Gon trying to reason with Mace Windu, and eventually he walks through Qui-Gon Jinn to get to Kenobi, lighting a red lightsaber instead of a purple lightsaber, and then we know it's on, and we know he's gone full dark side. He electrocutes Force shocks Kenobi, and that's how we get old crusty old goodness. That's it. It's a great way to do it. It facilitates a lot of necessity, and it gives everybody closure on Mace Windu. Can you imagine? I mean, look, in all fairness, I am really, really hard on Star Wars Theory. All right? I don't even like saying his name. I call him by other names. It's like he who should not be named. I am really, really hard on that dude. But his iteration of Mace Windu in his animated, that's the Mace Windu we need. But I don't need him going after Vader. I need him going after Luke. I need him going after Luke and meeting Kenobi. That's what we need. Because that's the kind of shit that this show could show us. Bad Batch, all kinds of stuff. It makes good sense, man. I'm just saying. Anybody out there that knows Samuel L. Jackson, have him hit me up. the Star Wars Obsession at gmail.com. Hit it. Make it happen. Let's get Mace Windu back into Star Wars. And I know Samuel L. Jackson wants that shit. This is the way to get you there, homie. Call me. All right, everybody. We're going to get out of here. It has been a good Friday. We got some Star Wars tickets. We're going to meet up and do some amazing streams from Disney at these Star Wars late night after darks. It's going to be amazing. We had a good day with Sheev. We had a good day hanging out with you guys on Friday. I wanted to just talk a little Bad Batch. Let's get dark. Let's talk the worst case scenario. Everybody dies. It's going to be an amazing season leading into Acolyte this summer. All right, everybody. Don't forget, as always, spay and neuter your pets, help control the pet population. Don't forget to tell everybody in your life what you feel today. Don't wait for tomorrow because you never know what today or tomorrow might bring. Tell everybody what you feel right now. And as always, everybody, thank you for being here. We're going to get out of here. Have a good weekend. May the force be with you.